work on an important task, such as studying for an exam, working on your business, writing a report for work. But when it's time to work, you say to yourself, let me just quickly check my phone. You take your phone, and that one quick check can turn into hours of scrolling. In today's video, I'm going to talk about why we scroll from the point of view of neuroscience and what to do to break this pattern. More in today's video. Hi, I have a PhD in neuroscience, and on the channel Neuroproductivity, we talk about developing healthy habits using principles of neuroscience. Today we are going to talk about the scrolling. Have you noticed that when you need to work on a very important task for you, such as studying for an exam, working on your business, writing a report for work, you tend to grab your phone? Why is that the case? Why does this happen? Well, when we have a big task in front of us, this task can be scary. And what happens in our brain is the brain is going to induce anxiety. So we are going to have a fear and anxiety mechanism waking up in our brain when the task in front of us is very big and very difficult. This basically happens because our brain wants to protect us. Our brain doesn't want us to do difficult things. Our brain wants us to be happy and to be relaxed. And that is why when we have a difficult task in front of us, anxiety will go up. And our brain is searching for ways to relieve that anxiety. Scrolling is a very good way for that because, first of all, it's easy. Scrolling is way easier than studying for an exam or working on your business or writing a report, right? It takes no effort whatsoever. Second effect is that oftentimes on social media, posts, videos are very engaging, very colorful, very funny. So that even further reduces the anxiety. However, we know that this anxiety relief is very short term. What happens in the long run if we keep scrolling and we don't work on important tasks, we risk failing an exam, losing a job, not becoming successful in our business. And that is going to make the anxiety in the long run even worse. So basically, the anxiety of being afraid of a big task and then scrolling makes less of a damage to us than not working on our goals. So now that we understood that our brain wants us to scroll in order to relieve anxiety, what can you do to break the pattern? The trick I use is a 15 minutes timer hack. When it's time to work on an important task, you say to yourself, I'm going to work just for 15 minutes. In that way, the big task doesn't look that scary anymore because instead of preparing the whole exam, writing the whole report, working on your business, you only have to do it for 15 minutes. And 15 minutes is quite easy. Anyone can sit down and work for 15 minutes. So in that way, the anxiety about this big task is going to be way lower. And when the anxiety is lower, you are less likely to check your phone and start scrolling instead of working. That's the first thing that is going to happen if you take the 15 minutes trick. Another thing, what's going to happen is that after 15 minutes, you are going to reach a flow state. So our brain works in something that we call ultradian rhythm. When you sit down to work, first 15 minutes you tend to be distracted. But after 15 minutes, you reach the flow state and there it's way easier to continue working. That is when you actually reach the flow state and you start enjoying your work. I talk more about the ultradian rhythm in some of my other videos, so make sure to subscribe to learn more about these 90 minutes focus patterns and rhythms in our brain. And if you want your own anti-scrolling system, you might be a good candidate for my program Neuroproductivity. To learn more about the program and see if you would be a good fit, you should schedule a free 30 minutes discovery call for a program, which you can schedule by clicking on the link in the description down below. You just click on that link and you get a 30 minutes discovery call with me. Now let's summarize this video. We realize that oftentimes we choose to scroll instead of working because that's our brain's way to reduce anxiety that is revolving around this big task. In order to solve this problem and break the scrolling pattern, you should set a 15 minutes timer and then just work for those 15 minutes. And what's going to happen after 15 minutes, you're probably going to reach the flow state and it's going to be easier to continue working. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like the video, please click the like button. It helps the algorithm, and see you in some of my future videos.